Four simple ways that you can do right now to increase the impact of your communication. So, if you are a woman in leadership, this is a really good one for you because each of these ways that I'm going to tell you, each of these simple strategies or simple tweaks, you can do start today. So there's no complex homework. There's no practicing. Although you could every time you do it is a practice. This is just really four simple ways to increase your impact as well as your influence. Because let's admit it at the very beginning, or let's be not even admit it, but just like be serious here in a second and saying that our communication and how we communicate is really one of the most important tools that we have in our tool belt as a leader. That is how we get our teams engaged with us. It's how we ensure that we have our stakeholders on. It's how you can secure resources. And it can also be how you promote yourself, promote your team, and work yourself into your next leadership challenge. So, communication, very important, as we all know. So, today I wanted to share with you four really simple ways that you can increase your impact and your influence with your communication. Before I get into this, I would love to know if you're watching this live. So either drop in the comments below. Again, if you have any questions, please make sure just to reach out and ask me whatever those questions are. And just before we get into those four simple ways to increase your impact and influence, what I also want to highlight is I have just opened up a couple of extra spots for one-to-one coaching this month. And this today's impact of communication or how to increase your impact is only a small sliver of the strategic influence pillar of my Leadership Edge program. So you're going to get a really small taste of it today. And if you're interested in wanting to know more, increasing your impact in terms of your communication, but also in terms of how you lead and becoming that leader that everyone wants to work for, as well as loving the life that you're living, then DM me impact, and we're gonna have a conversation. And if you're wondering, it's nothing has worked so far, no worries. I have worked with 50 plus women leaders over the last 2 years, and each and every one of them has created the career that they love and transitioning into their leadership roles, as well as having that time and space for themselves so that they have the balance between their work as well as their personal life as well. So if you're interested in that, DM me impact, and let's get into these four simple ways to increase your impact. Now, if you're watching on Instagram, just hit the heart button and let me know. And as always, feel free to share this with someone, a colleague that you think could be help with it. Now, the first way. So when we are communicating, whether it's in presentations or meetings, or simply at, for example, a networking drink, what we need to be aware of is simple little tweaks that we could put in that will actually communicate both more influentially and also your confidence in your communication. Now, your confidence, you might think, well, I appear really confident, even though maybe on the inside I'm a little nervous. However, it does show up in the language that you use very quickly. So, for example, the first simple way for you to increase your impact is to start communicating in closed sentences. Now, what does that mean? Now, for most of us, we've all grown up believing that you need to be collaborative, you need to be a team player. And this is even more prevalent for women because we have most often been raised to be nice, um, you know, accept everyone, etc., which means you are likely going to have the chance of you communicating more in an open form and an open sentence is relatively high. So, what is the difference? Now, for example, if you are communicating with more of an open sentence, you would be asking, well, here's my presentation. What do you think? Is this something, do you like it? Um, do you have any feedback? Right? So you're asking a question, which is opening up the sentence to the other people that are in the room. Now, when you have got that, when you're doing that open sentence, it does communicate unconsciously, so implicitly, that you have some hesitation possibly in your ideas or in your presentation. So, what can you do instead? You move to a closed sentence. Now, what does that look like? A closed sentence would be, for example, here's my presentation I put together. Let's start on section B, right? There's no question at the end. It's simply a statement of, okay, this is what I've done and this is where we're starting. This gives you much more. It communicates non-verbally to everyone else in the room that your confidence in your idea and in your presentation. So the first way, simple way, is used closed sentences when you're presenting your ideas. Let's talk about the second way. Now the second way is a little bit, tying off of that, is how you ask for feedback. So rather than asking for feedback each time, what I want you to do, or a simple tweak you can make, is actually move to the next step. So assume that the feedback is going to be positive and simply move to the next step. So rather than presenting an idea, or you giving your presentation and saying, well, what do you think about this? Do you like it? Do you approve of this? Right? What you can do instead, and which is going to impart a lot more confidence, as well as meaning will lead to you being taken a lot more seriously with your communication, is that you just say, well, who will you be leading this project? Okay, so you're still asking a question, you're getting specific feedback. And again, remember, you've already assumed that the feedback on the topic you've presented is going to be positive. Now you're looking for what is the next step. Or another way you could do it is saying, well, how would you like to get started? Again, you haven't asked for feedback on in terms of, well, what do you think? Do you like it? Do you agree with it? Do you approve of this? Right? Which will even unconsciously make you feel a little smaller. And it communicates to everyone else a lack of confidence in your idea and your presentation, and a lack of seriousness. So let's turn it around. So rather than asking for feedback in the form of, well, do you like it? Do you agree with it? Do you approve? Move to the next action step. So for example, will you be leading this project, or how would you like to get started? The third simple way. So I said they're simple. You can immediately take each of these ones and implement it right away into your communication style. The third one, start avoiding using confidence reducing words. Now, the reason I call them confidence reducing words, it's not only the confidence that you are feeling, it is also the how much confidence you impart to the others in the room. So words like, I think, I know, maybe, possibly, and in my opinion, so these are some examples, actually undermine the confidence that you have in your message and and what you're communicating across. Or even another one is I believe, right? You're kind of something like I think or I believe. You're almost weakening the stance that you're taking and what you communicate afterwards. And that means that those that are across from you or who you're communicating with will take you a little less seriously, and it also reduces the impact of the communication that you make. So what could you do instead? Just eliminate them and don't use those words, right? Rather than saying, I think this idea we should be doing X, Y, and Z, simply share it. We should be doing X, Y, and Z. Right? And it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to, especially if you've been using these kinds of confidence reducing words for a long time. And just start eliminating them, because again, you want to communicate with impact and influence, and you want to be taken seriously in your role. So let's take out the words that are actually reducing that and making you smaller, both for yourself, but also in terms of seriousness for your audience and those that are in the room with you. Now, the fourth way. This one's always a little bit of fun. It is a word swap. So the fourth way is I want you to be aware of the words that you use that actually are really impactful for your unconscious mind. Now, I know I've talked about this more often, but your unconscious mind is about 95, 96% of your brain power, and only 4 to 5% is your conscious, logical, rational mind, which is your thinking mind, which you're in every single day. So I'm going to give you 2 word swaps here to try. The first one is but, and then you want to swap it into an and. The reason why is if you use the but, not the butt that you're sitting on, but the but, but, is that anything that precedes the word but is automatically discounted in your mind. And it's not only just for you, but it's for everybody else. So as soon as you add the word but, it also sends a signal to your mind, as well as the mind of those that you're communicating with, that there's danger, there's a risk here, and you need to pay attention. And they will have forgotten everything that came before that but. So what you want to do is just do a really simple word swap here and say, okay, I'm going to put the but in place. So for example, you could be saying, you worked really hard on this project, but the results didn't speak to the effort. Okay. What now happens, when you communicate in that way, the person that's sitting across from you that's hearing this doesn't actually hear the fact that you provided positive feedback in terms of that they worked really hard and you noticed the effort, but all they hear is, well, the results didn't match the effort. They've completely forgotten the first part. So especially if you've been learning to do that hamburger feedback, right? Positive, negative, positive feedback, don't add a but in there, because again, will have forgotten the positive parts of it. So what can you do? Well, you have worked really hard on this project and the results did not measure up to the effort. That, for the unconscious part of your communication, all of your message is being heard and there is no risk in terms of the unconscious mind for the other person to shut you down. Now, the other word swap I want you to make is between if and when. There's so many times. Well, I will be honest, I catch myself, so I will regularly do this swap myself as well. So many times I have women coming and working that I work together. It's like, well, if this happens, then this. If I achieve this promotion, then that. If this result comes through, then that. The problem with if, it weakens it. It weakens your the confidence in which you believe that you could achieve this outcome. It also speaks to your unconscious mind of like, well, it's not a sure thing. So, we're not going to hedge our bets. When you swap it with when, so when I get my promotion or when the team result, the quarterly result has been achieved, we will. Notice how different and how much more powerful and more impactful that becomes. So if we achieve our quarterly result, we will do X, Y, and Z. Versus when we achieve our quarterly result, we will do X, Y, and Z. It comes across much more confidently, much more seriously, as well as it's triggering your unconscious mind to start working on it, because that is going to be the reality. So quick, simple word swaps, if versus when. All right. Those are 4 very simple ways in order to increase the impact and influence of your communication. So we'll go through them really quickly again. The first one is communicating closed sentences. So rather than asking what if the presentation you're doing, what do they think about it? Is it okay? Did you do a good job? Just simply make the statement with a closed sentence. Here's the presentation I put together. Let's start on section B. The second one, cut out confidence reducing words such as I think, I know, maybe, possibly, I believe, in my opinion. This undermines your confidence and it undermines the confidence of your message. So just eliminate those. The third one, rather than asking for feedback, moved to the next action step. So for example, rather than asking, what do you think? Do you like it? Do you approve? Simply state, will you be leading this project, as an example, or how would you like to get started? And the fourth one, make a couple word swaps in order to harness the power of your unconscious mind. So swap out but and use and instead. Swap out if with when, and then see and watch how your the impact and the influence of your communication with these 4 easy ways will increase exponentially. And I'd love to hear it. So when you've used these 4 or 1 to 4 or all 4 different ways to increase your impact and influence, then DM me. Send me a DM and let me know how that goes. What has been your experience by making these 4 simple swaps? And again, I want to invite you, if you found this interesting and you really want to dive deep into getting more of your communication up to par, because again, this is only a small sliver of what I teach and share and work with my clients on within the strategic influence pillar of the Leadership Edge program, then I want you to DM me impact, because I have a limited amount of one-to-one coaching spots still available this month, and we've just gotten started, but they do fill up soon, every month. So you want to get your spot, DM me impact, and let's have a conversation to see how I can help you and the results that you want to achieve, how you can get to those in the next 60 to 90 days. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.